For more on all the action, let's turn now to Paul Dong. He's the co-founder of EI Asia Limited and is also a sports and culture commentator. Welcome back to the show, Paul.
Thank you for having me, Gerald.
Always, every opportunity we can get, because I've just been glued to the TV. For me, a big highlight, China's Zheng Hao, now the first athlete at the Games with 2 gold medals under his belt. Paul, at just 19 years old, is he the face and the future of rifle shooting, would you say?
Well, Zheng may sound like very young, still under 20, but he was already 3 years ago a silver medalist in the same event in Tokyo. And so he grew up very fast. And before coming into Paris, he was already the world record holder. So it shouldn't come as a big surprise. Let me explain, Gerald, while a lot of Chinese fans of different age groups back here in China also, many of them also have their own eyes glued on the medal tally table if they don't have any particular sport to follow. But the changing rankings are very, very fascinating. For example, between the 2 gold medals that China won yesterday, or the US time still today, that between shooting and diving, there is a little bit of a subtle difference. Because for Team China, shooting is something that you do hold a lot of expectations, especially when shooting events were scheduled very, very very early into the Games, and China stand a chance to once again grab the Games' very first gold medal. But at the same time, diving would be something more, if you like, that China can take for granted, because in terms of certainties, diving would rank maybe #1 among all sports that China is good at. But shooting, you should allow yourself to make mistakes. And so far, 2 gold medals and 1 silver is already good enough for China to accept. And then the pressure is significantly lower, and then China may expect to give it a shot to, the air rifle, men's air pistol final today later for, the winner of the previous event stand another chance to win a gold in the dual men and women's mixed air pistol.
Right.
But for diving, as you just mentioned, I think it's no secret that China targets an all clean sweep of all gold medals available. But even before that, with 2 gold so far, China has historically exceeded the United States with 49 gold medals as the most successful diving nation in the history of the Olympics.
Right, Paul, you did bring up this, historic clean sweep of all 8 diving events that China is, gunning for. What are the chances of this success?
I think it's the outcome and also the logical expectations of decades of long, very hard, and also scientific training and the tradition, especially from the grassroots level, when young kids and their parents understand this sport may represent a bright future, a great opportunity for your children to be successful in the future. Yeah. And that would mean that people would like to participate in this. The sharp contrast would be like soccer. When parents understand that there are much fewer chances for their kids to land a good job in the future and be successful and win glories and win social recognition, and that would mean that the country will be running very, very short of potential talents. But diving is just the opposite.
Paul, you know what, we have just about 30 seconds left, but I have to ask, since you brought, these sports that China have traditionally dominated, what other events are we looking forward to? Because we have tennis, table tennis coming up.
Yeah, table tennis is another, to be taken for granted, very guaranteed pillar sports for China as well. But may I take another few seconds to mention that those sports are relatively for China to catch up and then dominate for several decades. But now China are starting from the same level as with Japan and many other countries in the relatively new sports. And we should pay more attention to these young kids. 15-year-old girl participating in the last 16 of surfing in Tahiti, and 14-year-old skateboarder, a girl from Shandong, to finish number 4 in the Olympics. Is already the best ever. I think they will motivate and inspire a lot of people in their own generation, although the sports they participate in are relatively new to China, but China now stand in the similar starting condition or level with many other countries in the world. We should pay more attention to those while applauding the more traditional successes before the world gets a little impatient about China's dominance in those traditional sports.
Motivation and inspiration, Paul, doing exactly what the Olympics is all about. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.